Hello and welcome to another review here, and today I'm super happy to be reviewing Black Panther. Came out last week. I couldn't get to go see it. I did last night, so I'm super happy to be talking about it. But before I get into the review, I have to say a spoiler alert. This is gonna be pretty much full of spoilers, so consider yourselves warned on all things spoilers for this movie. Second thing is, if you enjoy this review and want to see more like it in the future, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. It's free, and if you hit the little bell next to the subscribe button, it will notify you every time I put up a new video. With that being said, let's get into the review. So, Black Panther. Is it good, and did I like it? It's a big fat yes and a big fat yes, because I loved this movie. Going into this movie, I had high expectations. I've been wanting this movie, and I remember when they first announced it, and I got so psyched, and I still was so psyched last night right before I watched the movie to see it, because Black Panther is one of my favorite Marvel characters. I think he's so cool. I think it's super awesome that he's a king, and like, you see, like, Thor, he could be the king of Asgard, but he didn't want to. He's like a kind of, to me, it's like, you could have been a king, but you're not, so you're just a prince still. But this dude's a king. This guy's a king, and that's what's so cool about him to me. I loved this movie, and I love the way they did Wakanda. This is the best movie that I could have asked for, because I've been super excited. I've been wanting this movie for a while now, and it was amazing. Literally everything about this movie worked for me. Characters, story, acting, music, love interest, and Ryan Coogler just straight up rocks this movie. Just no doubt about that. He's amazing, and I think he does like literally as good a job as anyone could have hoped for. Seriously, you guys, you want an awesome hero? You got it. You want an awesome villain? You got it. You want awesome female characters that are strong and can take care of themselves? You got it. You want an amazing soundtrack? You got it. This movie has everything. So the story of this movie is primarily driven by Eric Killmonger, Michael B. Jordan's character, and he does an amazing job, you guys. And his motive of wanting to come back to Wakanda to, take the throne, but not only to take the throne, because his motive is not one of revenge, and that at least that's not how I see it, because you could see it as one of revenge. I could understand how when you would want to simplify it, you could say, yeah, he's just another dude who wants revenge on your main hero. But it's not that, because we find out what T'Chaka did, the former king of Wakanda, to his own brother N'Jobu, played amazingly by Sterling K. Brown. He's top notch, and the way T'Challa and Eric Killmonger, their story is super intertwined. Eric Killmonger does drive the story, but T'Challa's right there with him, because he has to be reactionary, because now he is the king of Wakanda. And the story's really good, because it's not just about some guy who's coming back to, who's going to try to take over Wakanda. It's not something like that. The way I saw it was more of T'Challa having to deal with the sins of his father. And that's something that's really hard, because we see in Captain America Civil War and in the beginning of this movie that he idolizes his father. His father was like the main, his role model when he was a kid and growing up. And having to, realize and seeing that his father was really wrong in what he did to his own brother, how he killed him. But not only did he just kill him, but he left him there. And that's something that's really powerful in those flashbacks. When the way Eric Killmonger, when he's talking about it, and he's like, you did, like, you could have brought him back, you could have brought me back, and it's really powerful because not only did he kill his own brother, T'Chaka killed Njobu, he left him there. Didn't this was a dude who was of royal blood from Wakanda, and he left him in Oakland, didn't give him that proper burial, didn't bring him back to Wakanda, and then he left his nephew there in Oakland, and it doesn't seem like the mother was around, so he left this kid who was of Wakandan royal descent in Oakland instead of bringing him back to Wakanda where he belonged. And that's why it's so understandable as to what Eric Killmonger does and why he wants to get back to Wakanda and be on the throne. It's Chadwick Boseman in this movie is really good, not only because he plays such a really good hero, but he plays such a good and subtle person as far as when he realizes that his father was wrong. It's a subtle thing that he goes from idolizing his dad, and toward the last time he has that vision with his father, how he breaks down and he's like, you are all wrong, like you guys were wrong, not only because T'Chaka he killed his brother and left Eric Killmonger there, but he wouldn't help the outside world. And this movie kind of is political, but I don't think that's such a bad thing. Wakanda and Lupita Nyong'o, who played Nakia, she wanted to help to have Wakanda help people, be a refuge spot because of their advanced technology, how they can defend against, terrorists who would, try to kill the refugees or whatever. But you find out that Chadwick and even Eric Killmonger was on that same path as far as, hey, Wakanda could help out the rest of the world because of their technology and their advancements and their resources, and that's not a bad thing. It was just the way that Eric Killmonger was going to help out the world. He was going to have them, send out weapons instead of what Nakia wanted to do was send out aid, send out people to help or bring them in so that they could help them, medically or, with safety. And it was a great story. I think that Ryan Coogler totally gets every single character, and to be honest with you, the reason why people, like, you hear sometimes in other reviews, like, hey, Eric Killmonger's like the dude, he's a really cool guy, but it's because his, that character drives the story, and Chadwick Boseman does an amazing job of being that character who reacts to Eric Killmonger. And they both, Michael B. Jordan and Chadwick Boseman, they're top notch. The way they respond and play off of each other is absolutely brilliant. The characters in this movie are amazing. Honestly, like, as far as how good the story is and how good, the action is, that's all great. But to me, the reason that Ryan Coogler is so good and the reason why he's perfect and did this movie well was he focused on the characters. And literally everyone in this movie brings their A game, and every single character seems like they have a good arc, like they are fleshed out characters from T'Challa all the way down to the Dora Milaje, and every single Dora Milaje, oh my goodness, Danai Gurira, who played the general of the Dora Milaje, is amazing. I mean, seriously, this girl is awesome. One of the funniest and coolest parts was that casino scene and the chase after, which, oh my goodness, the Dora Milaje is amazing. You guys, they're like just loved it. But the amazing thing was when they first get into the casino, how the general has the wig on, and it's so funny because it's totally, you could tell it's a wig, but it's like costuming did such a good job with being like, okay, we're gonna put a wig on you, but we're not gonna make it look like it's actually your hair. And it's so good, and it was so funny to me. Another one who just blew me away, because when I saw the trailer, Winston Duke as M'Baku, Manape in the comics is what he's called. That dude, in the comics, he is a villain, and in the trailer, you see the shot where he's holding up Daniel Kaluuya as Wakabi. He's holding him up and like screaming, and so in the beginning of this movie, you see Daniel Kaluuya's character is a good guy. Like he's a good guy. So, and with the way that M'Baku challenges T'Challa as for king, I was thinking about that trailer shot, and I was like, oh, M'Baku's gonna be the one to let Killmonger in, and it wasn't the case, dude. Winston Duke as M'Baku is like the sleeper hit of this movie. He's so good. Not only being a powerful character, and oh my goodness, that shot when they're coming into his throne, or at least his throne room. I guess you would call it a throne room. I mean, he's not the king, but he's the leader of that tribe. That shot going in there where he's like in shadow, just sitting on his throne, that, like, I wish we would have seen that from Black Panther, just sitting on his throne like a boss. But that shot was so beautiful with the moonlight behind them in the sky. This movie looks amazing. But Winston Churchill as M'Baku, so cool. I thought he was going to be a villain. Didn't turn out to be the case. And he turned out to, like, put out some of the best jokes. I mean, I will feed you to my children, and then, no, we're vegetarians. Seriously, my favorite joke, the one I laughed at the most in this movie. It was so good. Like, everybody laughed with me. That was amazing. But Winston Duke, I hope that dude gets more work. I hope to see him in the next one, in the next Black Panther. Hopefully he's not a villain, but hey, you never know. It's Marvel. They can do what they want, and we'll drink the Kool-Aid. Last thing is Angela Bassett as Queen Ramonda. Amazing. She's literally, the T'Challa's mother. She's so powerful. One of the most powerful scenes or shots in the movie, and scenes, I guess, is when Killmonger throws T'Challa why am I blanking on it? He throws him over the waterfall. Wow, can't believe I missed a waterfall. Anyway, he throws him off that, and just her reaction and her screams and her, her breakdown was so amazing. Like, literally, she's so good, and I can't wait to see her. And I understand that if she would have been in that battle at the end, she probably would have totally, laid the smack down. But, T'Challa was like, hey, M'Baku, take care of my mama. Which is cool. Another sleeper hit was Letitia. I hope I'm saying that. Letitia Wright as Shuri, T'Challa's sister. She's awesome in this movie. The way their banter in the beginning when she's first showing him the suit and how he kicks it, like it goes flying, and then she records it, hitting him back. Their banter was such a Marvel type of banter where it's like, it's super funny. You got two characters, talking. They're doing stuff that's relevant to the movie, but yet they're having so much fun, and I had so much fun with that movie. She's so good. When they're gonna crown him, when they're gonna make him king, and they're doing the whole challenge thing, when she raises her hand, I was like, what? And then the way she's like, can we all just get this going? Like, it was so funny. The humor in this movie from every character, not just Shuri, not just from M'Baku, even the general from the Dora Milaje, Lupita Nyong'o's character. Everyone seems to have a really fun time, and one of the ones that surprising to me was so fun was Andy Serkis as Ulysses Claw. I thought he was gonna live, you guys. I totally thought he was gonna live. I don't know why I thought he was gonna live, but I thought he was gonna live. And then when Eric Killmonger just takes him out, I was like, what? I was like, I was on the side of Eric Killmonger at that point. It was so cool to see him. And like Andy Serkis, you know, you usually don't see him because he's in mocap movies half the time. But dude can act, and dude was like, he was doing some work in this movie. I think he was one of the cooler parts. I loved when he's just like looking at the mirror, laughing, blowing kisses at the one-way mirror, and you see T'Challa and the general behind it, and it was so funny. It wasn't like over the top, like Jim Carrey in Batman Returns or whatever it was, that like trying to try. It didn't seem like he was trying. He was just being Ulysses Claw, having fun in that moment. And he was one of the cooler parts. Didn't think he was going to die. Definitely surprised me. Another thing about Ryan Coogler, he's not afraid to surprise you. And that's something that's always welcome, at least in my opinion. Bringing this review to a close, I got two more things that I really want to talk about. And the first one is how awesome the movie's soundtrack is. It's so good, you guys. It's so good. Every time the Dora Milaje come out and start doing some stuff, that music starts kicking in, and it's so good. And the fact that Ryan Coogler, again, amazing job with the way he blended in the indigenous, tribal type of music. He did that, which was perfect, never out of place. But he blended that with a lot of the hip hop, and oh my goodness, you guys, like, I want to buy this soundtrack yesterday. It is that good. It seemed, and that's another thing why Ryan Coogler is so good is, yes, there was a lot of music in this, and unlike some other movies, cough, Suicide Squad, it never felt like a music video. Never. And that's something that's kind of difficult to do when you have a lot of music like that. It never seemed like a music video, like, oh, let's have a montage, and let's have a montage with a certain song by some famous guy, some famous hip hop artist. It was never like that. It always worked. It was like, I can't, Guardians 1 had an amazing soundtrack. I think I like this one better, to be honest with you, because it always worked, and it was just like, I found myself dancing in my seat. I was just bobbing my head while the music was going, tapping my foot. It was so perfect, and like, I can't give enough props to Ryan Coogler for that. The second thing is my one negative for the movie. Okay, up to this point it's been all positive. I loved this movie, okay? But my one negative is the last battle between Killmonger and T'Challa. I do feel it was a good fight scene, but it did feel a little rubbery with the CGI there. And that was the only thing. It did feel a little bit rubbery, but honestly, I think instead of like the characters felt rubbery, but I feel like the one way to remedy that is to not have the characters being in front of like a giant blue or green screen or whatever they used, because I do feel I loved the way the Vibranium Mountain looked. I thought that was an amazing like set piece, and the way that looked was just so beautiful. And I just think that if you would have had them fight maybe outside, then you would have had that landscape, and so you wouldn't have had to do all the background CGI. You would have just had to worry about the characters fighting, and maybe that would have saved you some time as far as doing that background, because it's like when you have CGI characters and then a CGI background, I feel like that's when you got kind of the rubberiness of the characters. Whereas if you had just the CGI characters and like the outside background, I feel like that's what I would have done to maybe remedy that whole situation of it looking a little off. But that's literally my one negative, and that's such a small thing. The fight was awesome. I loved, everything about the movie. It was just like, hey, maybe change the background, do it outside. It couldn't hurt. But like, seriously, you guys, this movie to me is a 10 out of 10. I absolutely love this movie. There's literally that one thing. It was like 1 minute of the movie, not even 1 minute, that I was like, okay, I could tell that's CGI. But that doesn't detract from the movie. Like I said in the beginning, everything worked. Literally everything worked. And that was the only time where I could tell that it was CGI, when they had the SUV chase, which, again, amazing chase, and some super funny jokes in there. When Nakia comes like sliding on the seat of that car, and she just like stops, it's so funny. But like every other time we had like CGI with the Black Panther, it never felt like it was rubbery. It always felt real to me. It always looked good. And just that one part. But that's gonna pretty much do it for my review. I know it was probably a little bit longer than some of my other reviews, but hey, there's a lot to talk about when you have pretty much everything in the movie doing well and being good. So thank you for watching this review, and I want to know your thoughts, okay? This is a movie that I greatly enjoyed, and I want to know what you thought about the movie. If you didn't like it as much as I do, please tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Tell me why. Let's totally have a discussion on this movie. I think it's one that's worthy of a discussion. And if you don't want to, tell me in the comments section down below, we have a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/ccinemareviews page. And we have a Twitter. We're at ccinemareviews. So tell me either in the comment section down below in one of those two platforms. I would like to have a conversation about this movie. It's really fun. So definitely tell me your thoughts whenever and wherever you want. And thank you very much for watching this movie. Wakanda forever.